don't have the exact
You don't
number,
know?
but
Well, maybe there's your problem.
the supermajority of our individuals come
If they're
to
not
work
coming
at
to
our
work, they
institutions.
can't give us the answer. I've gone over. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. This is why people hate government and don't trust government.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a heated exchange that took place in the Senate, featuring Senator John Kennedy and General Peters, the director of the Bureau of Prisons. This back and forth really highlights some serious issues regarding the First Step Act and the data, or lack thereof, surrounding it. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our latest updates. So, let's set the scene. Senator Kennedy is questioning General Peters about her knowledge of various policies related to the First Step Act, which aims to reform the prison system. Right off the bat, Kennedy is not holding back. He's digging for specifics, and you can tell he's frustrated with the lack of clear answers. Next, things get interesting when Kennedy brings up Oregon's drug legalization policy. He asks Peters if she's aware of recent proposals to reverse it. Peters stumbles, admitting she's not familiar with those changes. It raises the question, how can the head of the Bureau of Prisons not be up to date on such critical issues? Moving on, Kennedy zeroes in on the numbers. Peters states that around 30,000 inmates have been released under the First Step Act since its implementation in 2018, but when pressed for specifics on the recidivism rate, the rate at which released inmates reoffend, Peters struggles to provide details. This is a huge deal. How can they measure success if they don't know the outcomes? Kennedy doesn't let up. He questions whether victims of those released inmates were notified before their release. Again, Peters is vague and unsure about the notification process.
Anybody at the Bureau that can count?
I do not have that number in front of me today.
So let me get
Senator.
this straight. The First Step Act was passed in 2018. This is 2024. Am I right so far?
That's correct.
That's 6 years. And in 6 years, you've let 30,000 criminals go, right?
That's correct.
And you don't have the slightest idea how many of them committed another crime and came back.
I don't have that number in front of me today,
And you
sir.
run the Bureau of Prisons.
That's correct.
And how many employees do you have?
About 40,000 employees.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. General, I know you got a lot to do, but could you give us a hand here? And let's find out whether the First Step Act worked. And how many, if we've released 30,000 criminals after 6 years, our director here doesn't know how many have committed another crime and come back? Can you help us?
Senator, I can certainly follow up on that issue. I will just say in terms of work we've done in the past, for example, on compassionate release, and going to the Bureau of Prisons, this is before Director Peters was there, and asking them for data on compassionate release, because that was one of the issues that has come up.
Excuse me for interrupting, but I'm not talking about compassionate release.
No, I understand.
You know,
I'm
my
just saying-
colleagues said, we were told that it would save money and it would be in the interest of public safety to release criminals from prison. I didn't vote for it, but the majority rules. And so Congress did it. And Ms. Peters, Director Peters at the Bureau of Prisons, and her colleagues released 30,000 criminals, all of whom are there for a reason, okay? They didn't just go to prison for a free toaster. They were there for a reason. And so her department let them go, and after 6 years, we don't have the slightest idea. Not a single one of the 40,000 of her employees know how many have committed a second crime and come back. So how the hell are we supposed to figure out whether it worked?
Senator,
Your people ought to hide their head in a bag, Director, that you can't come here in front of this Congress and answer that question. I'm sorry, I interrupted you with my speech.
No, that's okay. I was just going to, my bottom line point on it was, I've often looked to those questions on things like compassionate release and other programs. And one of the challenges we found is the department just doesn't have good data on that. Halfway houses. Congress is spending about $500 million a year on halfway houses. There's really not great recidivism data on that either. How well are they working?
Before we do this, we need to find out. Look, I believe in justice. I believe in treating everybody fairly. But there are people out there, I don't know why, if I make it to heaven, I'm going to ask. They're not mixed up. They're not confused. They're not sick. It's not that their mama or daddy didn't love them or not enough. They just hurt other people, and they take other people's stuff, and we have to separate them from society. And the director let 30,000 of these folks go and can't tell me today how many have come back. I just find it takes my breath away. With 40,000 people. How many of your 40,000 people are actually coming to work or are still working from home, Director?
The supermajority of our employees come to work every day because we're running 24/7
What percentage are coming to work every day?
The percentage is quite high. I don't have the exact
You don't
number,
know?
But
Well, maybe there's your problem.
the supermajority of our individuals come
If they're
to
not
work
coming
at
to
our
work, they
institutions.
can't give us the answer. I've gone over. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. This is why people hate government and don't trust government.
It's a serious concern that raises red flags about the system's accountability. How can the Bureau evaluate its effectiveness without proper data? Towards the end, another senator jumps in defending the First Step Act by highlighting a lower recidivism rate of 12.4% for those released under the law. It's clear that there's a divide in opinions about the act and its implications for criminal justice reform. Kennedy, however, insists that better oversight is crucial for public safety. So, what do you think about this intense exchange? Is the First Step Act working effectively? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the latest political discussions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.